And it doesn't seem like the map restarted, but it does seem like everybody is ready, and it does seem like we are underway. Let's take a look at who the teams have chosen to represent them on map number 1, Back to the Source by Truorex. Very challenging, very technical flat map with some peculiar curves that will be a real challenge in Division 4 that we are just looking to see consistency from the players. Representing Team Slow Noobs Cruising on map number 1 will be Farber Daniel, Supersonic and Kart Slalom, a very strong roster, while Crumb, Penete, and Spock will be representing NRT Cyan as the first lap of the first round finishes. No crashes yet, very encouraging signs. Spock will unfortunately make a mistake and drop out of the contention, but the other 5 players still everything to play for. Very close between Kart Slalom and Kram, and very close between Penete and Supersonic, who still retains the lead for SNC. Thanks to Spock's mistake, I do believe Team Slow Noobs Cruising does have an advantage in this first round. It is Kram and Penete who have to fight to the finish in order to try to regain a point for their team, but this first round is looking to end and Supersonic looking incredibly clean as he reaches the finish line in a 1:10.89. An impressive time by all means. Penete reaches second, but Kart Slalom and Farber Daniel secure the first round for Slow Noobs Cruising. As unfortunately Krum was overtaken at the end and Spock's early mistake left him out of contention, but Supersonic, 1:10.89, a time almost up to Daddy 30, showing an incredible level for Division 4 and showing why Slow Noobs Cruising are team number 1 in Division number 4 provisionally. So there is a lot for them on the line, trying to defend their title as favorites in this division, while NRT Cyan looking to prove that they made it to Division 4 on merit, looking to prove that I have what it takes to hang with the rest of the teams in this division, as I believe Farber Daniel has made a significant mistake. NRT Cyan have an excellent chance to score, but Supersonic and Kart Slalom are holding down a sufficient number of points to take the round anyway. Spock and Penete have to make something happen if they want to recover this round, because unfortunately Krum isn't there on raw pace, and now Kart Slalom releasing a little bit, making a bit of a release timing mistake will allow Spock to regain a little bit of time, and that deficit continues to be shrunk, but now Kart Slalom takes the 180 very well. Krum now also recovering. A late round surge from Krum may still recover. He takes the S's with a lot of speed, managing to overtake Kart Slalom, and Penete overtakes Supersonic. NRT Cyan go right back 1-1 in rounds, taking advantage of Farber Daniel's mistake in order to secure back an immediate point. Very well done from them. Looking forward to a close match. As a reminder to everybody, we are playing until 7 points on each particular map, and here, Penete versus Supersonic. Supersonic having the better raw pace when everything collides, but Penete absolutely able to match him on most rounds. They will be the duel at the top, but the caster curse, the first of the evening, in great effect as Penete will unfortunately make a severe mistake. Krum also sliding out of the turn puts Slow Noobs Cruising in a decisive advantage in this round. The only NRT Cyan member left to defend is Spock, but will he be able to? Makes a little bit of a sharper turn in than he should have in the S's, and it is an ace on the cards right now, but Krum resurges with excellent technique in the second half of the lap. Clearly the more comfortable part of the lap for him, judging by the recovery he also made last round, but with Supersonic in the advantage, and Krum barely overtaking Farber Daniel for third place now. Slow Noobs Cruising in a big advantage, and he will touch the pole. An ace possibly on the cards for Slow Noobs Cruising if they can reach the finish line unscathed. Supersonic again putting together a great pace, but Kart Slalom and Farber Daniel not too far away from him as they go through the S's and take the final turn. They will lose a bit of speed, but it will be for nothing. Ace Team Slow Noobs Cruising in a 1:11.05. Very well done by Supersonic. Just above the rest of the field in terms of raw pace. And they are doing very well for themselves as they will now take a 2-1 lead on this particular map. And hold up, let me move up the stream UI a little bit so you can see the round times better. My sincerest apologies, I didn't count on this. One quick moment to get all of this out of the way so you guys can enjoy the times better. Apologies for that. We resume right with round number 4 on map number 1, back to the source by Truo. The flat map definitely posing a big challenge as Kart Slalom now makes a significant mistake in the early round. NRT Cyan looking at a great opportunity to equalize. It is Farber Daniel who now has to make several overtakes, but he makes a mistake instead. And now NRT Cyan need to be safe. They need to realize they are in prime position to win the round regardless of Supersonic's first place finish. They need to realize that all of their opponents are quite far away and that the most important thing is to take the round home. Farber Daniel gives them another assist in the form of a small mistake sliding out of the corner. And now NRT Cyan in prime position to secure back an equalizing point in the 4th round. Supersonic still leading. Class of the field, Spock releasing a little bit. Kram again showing that he's much more comfortable in this part of the lap. Supersonic wins the round in a deady time. 1:10.80. Very well done for them, but unfortunately it is NRT Cyan who win through superior consistency and equalize this match at 2-2. And as Ronish in chat, the legendary mapper himself observes, Supersonic could not actually attend all 3 qualification events, and those of you familiar with FKX will know that Supersonic is one of their incredibly strong players in terms of pace. Showing that today, but his teammates slightly further behind, not able to show the same level of consistent pace, and unfortunately this does mean that although Supersonic has won most of the rounds and leads in terms of overall points, we are equal at 2-2. NRT Cyan finding the critical equalizing points in every position. It seems like a slightly bigger mistake by Crumb this time, and it is SNC who will take the lead heading into lap number 2. No significant mistakes made by any players yet, but Supersonic is off to a decisive advantage. He is the class of the field right now in terms of overall pace, the only player to be able to post up a 1:10 time, and the only player to be almost a second ahead of the next person in the field in terms of raw pace, and he is again putting together an excellent pace, only half a second behind Deddy 1 at this moment, smoothly navigating all the corners in this map, and now Kart Slalom is the one who is providing the necessary backup to secure this round for Slow Noobs Cruising. Unless a significant mistake happens in the end, this will be a round for SNC, and oh boy, Supersonic continues unrivaled pace with a 3rd round around the 1:10.7 or 1:10.8 mark. 4 of the fastest 4 rounds belong to Supersonic as he is putting his team on his back. And he gives them the advantage heading into round number 6 on this map. It is Team Slow Noobs Cruising leading 3-2 over NRT Cyan, but there's still all to play for. 7 points on each particular map before we continue. And as you can see by the points tally, Supersonic with 29 points ahead of Penedes 23. The battle of the carries significantly in advantage of Supersonic. The rest of the players, Kart Slalom best of the rest with 18, and the rest of the players around 10 to 14 points. Contributing fairly to their teams with relatively equal peak paces. But it is definitely Team Slow Noobs Cruising with the overall pace advantage in this challenging technical flat map by Truo. That is definitely difficult for each low division player to drive at a consistent and high level, but Supersonic here to prove us wrong as again he's putting up a blistering pace and blistering consistency. Penedes is putting up a very good pace himself, but unfortunately he is simply not at the same level, and the teammates in Team Slow Noobs Cruising definitely proving that that name is misleading. They are not slow and they are not noobs, but what they are is cruising to the finish line to pick up their 4th point. Another 1:10 for Supersonic. The man is as consistent as you'd like. Pineda comes in second, but to no avail. Slow Noobs Cruising open up a 2-point lead on map number 1. Doing very well for themselves here at the beginning of the night. Unfortunately, with Kart Slalom as backup as the 3rd best player, there is simply not enough on NRT Cyan to answer. Now, Kart Slalom has made a mistake, and this is the opportunity that NRT Cyan have. NRT Cyan have received 2 opportunities from Slow Noobs Cruising to take a free point, and they have converted both. They are not a team to be underestimated by any means. Just because Supersonic is leading the field in terms of pace does not mean that NRT Cyan are not a fearsome team in their own right in their division, and they will be looking to take advantage of a free point now. As Farber Daniel only in 4th place, Crum will be looking to hold him back. Supersonic leads the field, but Pineda is quite close. It is Krom who has to win this battle against Farber Daniel, and he is carrying a lot of speed here into the following 180, and he takes advantage of a safer line by Farber Daniel, but look at that exit speed. Blistering line. The up and under executed to perfection by Farber Daniel, who is defending the third place necessary to avenge Kart Slalom's mistake and to retain the point for Slow Noobs Cruising. NRT Cyan will not be able to convert based on the mistake. Another phenomenal 110.7 by Supersonic. This is a Division 1, Division 2 level performance. This man is on fire. And thanks to Farber Daniel's defense finishing 1/10 of a second ahead of Krom, he will retain the point. And now the advantage is opening up for Team Slow Noobs Cruising. They take a 5-2 lead with 3 consecutive points, as NRT Cyan simply do not have the pace to keep up. As they now head into round number 8 on this map, Supersonic steal the class of the field with 41 points. Spock at the bottom with 14 points, Farber Daniel and Krom with 18 and 19, Kart Slalom slightly ahead of them with 22, Penete with a very respectable performance with 33 points, but it is simply not enough. He is rarely able to finish ahead of Supersonic, and the rest of his team not doing him many favors. Spock has made a significant mistake, he will be out of this round. SNC will be at match point if they're able to convert this, and now the only player defending their honor is no one, as both Penete and Krom make consecutive mistakes. This may be another ace on the cards, the second of the map for Team Slow Noobs Cruising, who have come into their own, who have opened up their groove. Now Farber Daniel will make a mistake leaving third place to Penete, but unfortunately, unless a miracle happens, there is nothing that can save this round for NRT Cyan, as they are simply too far behind and nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Match point in their sights, they will convert it. Kart Slalom now to win a round in a 1:12.0. Supersonic to follow him. Map point, Slow Noobs Cruising, 6-2 on map number 1. And now they have 5 opportunities to convert this map point. Kart Slalom now again jumping into outright third place in terms of points, giving the necessary consistency to Supersonic's performance in order to make Slow Noobs Cruising a puzzle that NRT Cyan have not been able to meaningfully crack. While they did take advantage of some lost rounds, and while some rounds were very close, unfortunately, it wasn't close enough in the beginning of this round, not boding very well for NRT Cyan. I don't think Slow Noobs Cruising want to wait at all. They want to convert their very first map point opportunity. They look to take us to Voyager by Dopamine, and they look to put this map to rest, showcasing that their flat prowess is really something to be afraid of. But now look at this. Penete actually making a recovering dash to second place. And now if Kart Slalom makes a mistake, Spock is still in range to punish, but unfortunately with Krom's significant mistake putting him 11 seconds behind, I'm struggling to see how this can change in the late round with Supersonic still firmly holding on to first place by a second. What a performance by him, showcasing the peak of his pace at the peak of his powers and his incredible flat map prowess. Nothing to be done for NRT Cyan, as the first map goes in the favor of Slow Noobs Cruising, 7-2. Krom will reach the finish line, and we will skip to the following map. 110.60, the overall best round, Supersonic ending it with a bang. An incredible performance with 52 points, 10 ahead of Penete, 20 ahead of Kart Slalom. This player is simply unbeatable for anyone else in the server at the moment. 7-2. And I will take this brief moment of half a minute to refill my water bottle. Very important to hydrate when you're spectating a match this interesting. The players will warm up on Voyager by Dopamine, and we will explain the technicalities of this map right after I come back. And just as the map loads in, so does the caster. Welcome everybody to map number 2, Voyager by Dopamine. Possibly and probably the most challenging map these teams will face all evening long. We're going to do a terrible demonstration of how to drive this map in the warm-up by a player who hasn't trained whatsoever, but just to cover the things that will make this difficult at all levels of play and not just this one. This map simply requires you to be extremely precise. No elements really dare to be merciful, not as simple of a map as the previous one. Lots of opportunities for you to either lose your speed or lose your life hitting a nearby wall, and while some of these elements are easier to navigate than others, putting together a powerful performance on this map, I imagine, will be difficult at all levels of play, and not just Division 4. Here, I'm mostly looking to see consistency from the players. I'm looking to see the kind of performance that will put consistent points on the board, and for NRT Cyan, I'm really looking to see how they manage to devise a strategy to fight against Supersonic's currently, indeed, supersonic pace, as they have to make something happen because they are facing a great deficit. Heading into map number 2, it was 2-2, and then in the blink of an eye, it was 7-2 in favor of Slow Noobs Cruising, as they very quickly made easy work of NRT Cyan on the previous map, purely by pace advantage, and looking forward to see how they're going to do while facing the challenges of this map. The deadly spread between 1 and 30, 1.5 seconds on this map, so quite a bit of room between the best players and the lower levels of play, and we will see how they manage to deal with the difficulties presented to them. They have one more warm-up to figure out their lineups. They have one more warm-up to see for themselves how to approach this circuit. NRT Cyan looking for a moment of reprieve, and Slow Noobs Cruising looking to keep the pedal to the metal. 5 consecutive rounds won so far, and they're looking to extend that streak past the first map, as there really is no room for error here, and it remains to be seen, obviously, how the players will handle this challenging and slightly unorthodox circuit by Dopamine. But again, the team of the evening is not finesse. The team of the evening is consistency, team spirit, putting together a good performance here in Division 4, showing that you have the capability to punch well above your weight, and showing that low division matches are as entertaining as any other. Second warm-up underway as you see the players navigating these twists and turns. Barbara Daniel putting together some decent pace. Perhaps he will be the carry for Team Slow Noobs Cruising on this particular map. And not much left for the players. Not much time left to prepare, not much time left to say your prayers. The second map is upon us as the final warm-up reaches its logical conclusion. We are about Is that a horn? I was stunned for a moment. It seems that one of the players has a very interesting horn. And we are ready to begin action on map number 2. The preparation the players have done now to be put to the test. SNC carry a 7-2 advantage over NRT Cyan, as they took one look. Yeah, it does seem that players have very interesting horns, and I unfortunately forgot to mute them. This is very challenging. Here we go. So the rosters take a little bit of a change, as now instead of Crumb, we will have Mike 12334 for NRT Cyan, and Supersonic makes way for Shiva, and I believe Kartsalom makes his way for Middenrat, as I believe we already have a very significant mistake from Mike 12334. So the map claiming its first victim. He will recover, but not in any significant way, as also Shiva appears to have made quite a significant mistake. But it is Farber Daniel who true to his pace in warm-up, is actually class of the field headed into lap number 2. Quite a ways away from Daddy 1, but he won't care as long as he's able to put his team on his back, and right now he's doing just that. Penete doomed again to be second place behind a Slow Noobs Cruising member, as this time it is Farbro Daniel leaving him in the dust. But now Spock recovering that third place. It might still have a role to play unless Middenrat can overhaul him. Yet to be seen as we reach the dying stages of the first round of the second map, but I don't think Farbro Daniel is going to make much of a mistake, as he seems supremely confident, well aware that all he needs to do is finish safely, and that is exactly what he's going to do, reaching the finish in a 126.9. Nothing to speak about in terms of pace, but consistency there, and Middenrat actually overhauling Spock in the end, securing the round for Slow Noobs Cruising, as they will upgrade to 6 in a row, taking an 8-2 advantage over Team NRT Cyan. Mike's early mistake unfortunately costing them a round, but once again Penete not able to keep up with the fastest member of Slow Noobs Cruising, and Spock simply not able to put up the pace required. Quite unfortunate for these players, as you see that the players leveraging the start trick, getting off to a much better start. Shiva now taking 0.2 of a second basically for free with this opening preparation. We will see for ourselves what is happening, as Team Slow Noobs Cruising is off to a dominant advantage, and it is now Penete trying to increase his pace in order to prevent his team's loss, in order to stem the bleeding, because right now it is not looking good. But now Shiva making a mistake and Mike not making one, along with Midden falling behind. This is NRT Cyan's golden opportunity to strike back. Let's see what happens here. Mike will be overtaken by Middenrat, but it won't matter because Spock and Penete are holding on to crucial positions. Penete in the overall lead, keeping Farbro Daniel behind this time with an increase in pace. Farbro Daniel now has to do something in order to protect his team. In order to keep the streak going, he will have to complete a massive overtake on Penete. He will have to get a mistake coming his way. And Penete obliges, unfortunately not able to cope with the pressure. And although Spock manages to hold on to third place and now inherited second, it will not be enough. As now Midden holding on to third, even potentially overtaking for second, unfortunately doesn't take this turn smoothly. But ultimately NRT Cyan's point falls apart, and it is again Slow Noobs Cruising taking yet another point, their 7th consecutive, to go to 9-2. And Farbro Daniel with 2 consecutive round wins, one of them courtesy of a mistake by his opponent, one of them courtesy of raw pace. Shiva will touch the wall before the first corner has even arrived. Not what you want to see if you're Slow Noobs Cruising, and again the opportunity opens itself for NRT Cyan to capitalize. These opportunities don't grow on trees, and they have not made good on a lot of them. They made good on the first 2, but oh lord, Penete goes flying, and suddenly Shiva's mistake seems inconsequential. Spock overtaken by Middenrat, and as soon as their hopes sprung up, they are crushed again. Only Mike left to defend, and his pace is not there. Midden will overtake, Farbro Daniel will hold the lead, and NRT Cyan, looking like whatever confidence they had at the 2-2 scoreline is evaporating before our eyes, as SNC threatened to take 8 consecutive rounds for a 10-2 scoreline. Unless a miracle were to occur, nothing for them in this round, as Spock is 1.5 seconds behind the lead, unable to take second place from Midden. But Midden now leaving a lot of pace on the table. I simply don't think it will be enough, as Spock is unable to complete the overtake despite this mistake. Midden holding a little bit of pace in hand, holding his earlier advantage. It will be enough to see him through. And in the end, Spock's overtake does not materialize, but it was Farbro Daniel. What has happened? He actually doesn't finish with an uncharacteristic late error. In the end, it won't matter because Midden inherits the lead, defending it against Spock, but Farbro Daniel with a big throw. Unfortunately, Penete, thanks to his early mistake, nowhere to capitalize, as his consistency from map 1 nowhere to be seen anymore. 10-2 the lead for Slow Noobs Cruising, 8 consecutive rounds. As it seems, unfortunately, that Team NRT Cyan evaporating before our eyes. The consistency not there. The pace not there. The maps very difficult and unfortunately might prove to be a little bit too difficult. But all hope is not lost. We have seen more impressive comebacks in SNC history. And if there was ever a time to begin a comeback, the best time is now. As Penete, now taking lots of speed, will actually overhaul, and Farber Daniel, and that are two huge mistakes for Team Slow Noobs Cruising. NRT Cyan have the advantage of a lifetime as two players are nowhere to be found in this round. They have to quickly be aware of the situation. They have to be aware that Shiva is in no position to stop them, and that all they need to do is finish without respawning in order to secure a critically needed point and begin their comeback. Penete also needs to realize that this is not a battle of pace. Midden can do nothing. Or, excuse me, Shiva can do nothing. Even if she were to finish first, there is nothing that can be done if both members of Team NRT here at the back finish the round, and it does look like they're on course to do it. It's not elegant, but it doesn't need to be. With mistakes this big, all they need to do is reach the finish line. And right now they're looking poised to do that. Very few places left to do the mistake. Spock and Mike unable to complete the overtake on Shiva. But it doesn't matter as Penete will reach the finish line in a very impressive, fastest so far, 1:26.01. Doing one better than Farber Daniel and NRT Cyan with a critical point to return themselves into contention. Putting a third point on the board. Score now 3-10. SNC still with an overwhelming advantage, but if they continue doing this and Penete unlocks this pace, which put in the fastest time so far on this map in a 1:26.01, everything still to play for. And Spock actually now putting up the most points on this map with 17, and then a neat line of players down to Penete in 5th place by points, but the first time by time. And that is another big mistake from, I believe, a member of Team Slow Noobs Cruising. But no, it is Shiva and Mike actually that have both made a catastrophic mistake, leaving the top 4 to fight for these positions that will decide the round now. Penete in the overall lead, Midden in 4th place, but Spock in 3rd. As it stands, NRT Cyan with the opportunity to take the map, but this critical overtake by Midden will return the round in favor of Team Slow Noobs Cruising, and Spock now has to unlock a new level of performance. Will take the opportunity Midden has given him to catch up a little bit, and he is carrying more speed, but now needs to preserve it through to the second half of the lap in order to stand a chance. Overtaking Midden now and maintaining good speed, and a huge mistake by Farber Daniel again. NRT Cyan looking for a second round on the trot and looking for a significant counterattack. CDSF, Farber Daniel's initial pace now proving to be their undoing as Penete and Spock look to secure the top 2 positions, and Penete again may prove to be the fastest, another 1:26.3, very nice time from him. Spock will finish just 0.02 of a second ahead from Midden. And it is actually NRT Cyan that will take the point. Returning now to 4 points to 10 overall. Doing quite well for themselves. Mike will forfeit the round. Don't do that, man. Finish if you can, but since Spock finished in 2nd place, that'll save the round. If Midden had sniped Spock with Mike actually respawning, that would have been a draw. Don't delete rounds, ladies and gentlemen. This is a living lesson as NRT Cyan almost gave up a free round, courtesy of this uncharacteristic blunder. Into then round number 6 we go. Slow Noobs Cruising still with the lead on this map, but NRT Cyan with 2 consecutive rounds taking advantage of significant mistakes, and Slow Noobs Cruising, oh no, another big mistake. NRT Cyan are in a prime position to keep capitalizing on these, as it doesn't seem like Team Slow Noobs Cruising is capable of putting together a consistent performance from all 3 members. Penete's pace now unlocked, and he has been beating Farber Daniel decisively for quite a while, and Shiva is out. Shiva is out. Mike needs to realize and finish. Do not respawn. Do not delete the map. The 2 points that he can bring together are crucial now. They just might be what secures the round in favor of his team. He just misses the road completely. But as long as he reaches the finish line, it doesn't really matter. He reaches the checkpoint touching the wall, but he can still save this. And now Penete in a defensive position. It would take an overtake from both Farber, Daniel, and Midden on him in order to save the map at this point. Mike, presuming he finishes. Farber, Daniel, desperate attack. Penete would have to make the last corner mistake, but there's simply nothing to fail in the final corner. And Penete will secure a third round on the trot in first place. And Team NRT Cyan will continue their comeback. 3 on the trot, 5-10 overall. The best time to begin the comeback is now, and boy has the comeback come into full force as now Penete equaling Spock with 25 points at the top of the map times. And Midden and Farber Daniel now down to 23 points. Shiva doing better than Mike, but not enough because these significant errors resulting in respawns have given up rounds. Slow Noobs Cruising need to put their head back where it belongs. Keep it together or they may soon be nowhere to be found, and it is now NRT Cyan that obliges with a mistake. Coming right back to them. As just a please. My apologies, not feeling all that well, and neither is Farber Daniel. That's another colossal mistake, and one that might end up losing his team the round depending on whether any NRT members are in position to capitalize. It is Penete again leading the round by a significant margin, unrivaled in terms of pace and perhaps looking to set a personal best. And he will, another 126-0. His pace has been unrivaled on this map, but Shiva and Midden score very important points. Will this still be an NRT Cyan round? If Spock is able to finish in 5th place, I think it just might be. And it will be! 4 consecutive rounds for NRT Cyan. Now the comeback is swinging the other way. Farber Daniel's mistake, losing his team the round on multiple occasions now. NRT Cyan are putting it together. Very nice comeback, and they take the lead on this map. 4-3 now. Putting together 4 consecutive rounds to come back from a 0-3 deficit, and they might actually take map 2 at this rate. But this is not the time to rest on their laurels. They need to keep it together. They need to keep it on the road. They need to keep the finishes stable. This challenging map giving them the opportunity they need to claw themselves back into the match. And Penete's space has been unlocked without Supersonic to curtail him. It seems like nobody is able to step up to his consistency and pace. Farber Daniel had him in round number 1, but he doesn't anymore. And Midden doesn't have a round to drive. No contest in this one. Mike also with a mistake, but a smaller one. And NRT Cyan are again in prime position to take a round away from Slow Noobs Cruising, as their lead that Supersonic built from them, they are gradually undoing. Spock will make a bit of a mistake, but it doesn't matter as long as Penete can hold on to first place, and Farber Daniel is looking for a snipe which would secure his team the round. Penete now has to keep the consistency. He needs to realize that he has enough of a gap in pace to his opponent that he does not need to significantly risk in any way, shape, or form. If he finishes in first place, it would be 3 to 4 rounds of consecutive first place finishes, putting his team on his back, 1 corner left, and nothing to say. I think NRT Cyan might be in for a 5th consecutive round. The first 125 comes in. Farber Daniel is no match, and Mike finishes in 4th place. NRT Cyan have 5 consecutive rounds. They're back to 7-10. Only 3 points the advantage for Slow Noobs Cruising. As ladies and gentlemen, this is must-watch action Division 4 Who? A match as interesting as you'd like, and look at this, Penete now with 37 points and Spock with 31. Even though he's not able to do better than a 127.9, he is putting in points round after round after round, beating Farber, who is a second faster, and doing one better than Shiva and Midden. Consistency is king, and Spock is putting it together. Slow Noobs Cruising needs to recover, but oh no! Caster curse number 2 of the evening, Shiva. Into the wall, Midden into the wall! NRT Cyan, what is happening? 6 consecutive rounds, now the possibility for NRT Cyan. Whatever happened on the first map seems like a distant memory now, as they keep taking it all back. Farbro Daniel trying to keep it together, but I don't think it matters. If NRT realize the advantageous position they find themselves in and just finish the round, they will be in for their 6th consecutive point. Your caster's losing his voice, and what's happening in the match is having him lose his mind. They all make the jump successfully. Penete is now also competing to take the 5th consecutive round win, as he has been the dominant force of this map. Barbara Daniel nowhere to be. Midden retires. Midden retires, and this is a disaster. From an 8-point advantage, they are down to 2 as NRT Cyan are looking to secure a 6th consecutive round, and they will. NRT Cyan map point. I can't believe my eyes. A disaster, 2 retirements. Slow Noobs Cruising. Now finally looking more like the Slow Noobs than the easy cruising they had on the first map, because damn, NRT Cyan has brought it all back through consistent performances. Spock with 35 points. 35 points, putting it when it matters. Even though he's not there in terms of pace, he is there at the finish line in a way that the other players are simply not able to keep up with. Understanding how to play to his win condition and doing his team a majestic job. But now Mike taking a bit of a wider line. Not again, Shiva. Not the same place again. Meets the wall again. It's a disaster. NRT Cyan are going to take 7 consecutive points in order to come from 3-0 down to 7-3 up. They are going to equalize. Only Farber Daniel dare to resist. Midden there to hold the spot, but if Mike finishes in the position that he does, and if Penede continues his reign of terror in first place, it'll all be for naught. Penede has won like 6 consecutive rounds. The Brazilian driver of Team VXRT, and now with NRT Cyan unlocking the maximum of his pace. Really coming alive on this difficult map, showing that he's not afraid of it at all. The Division 4 players can show excellent mastery. Spock in second place, Mike in third, NRT Cyan are on for the ace! Barber Daniel nowhere, Shiva nowhere, Midden nowhere. It's going to be an ace for 7 consecutive points to take map number 2 for NRT Cyan. Ladies and gentlemen, I am losing my mind. NRT Cyan have done the unthinkable. Penede equals his best time, and it's an ace! NRT Cyan win map number 2. 7-3 with 7 consecutive rounds. It's now only 1 round the advantage for Slow Noobs Cruising. 10-9. What a comeback! Both teams with absolutely blistering performances, taking each other's maps. I thought this match was going to be a snooze fest when SNC took their 8th consecutive round on the first 3 rounds of this map, but then, out of nowhere, Penete unlocking a new level of form, driving like a devil possessed. And Spock with 40 points! Better than any driver on Slow Noobs Cruising. Amazing performance from Spock. Absolutely incredible. I can't believe my eyes. Map number 3 soon to follow, Submersia. But Mama Stikar This map, against an SNC team that is losing their flow, this could be so dangerous for the teams. This map, anything but easy to drive safely and to drive well. The deadly spread on this map, only 7/10 of a second. But to drive this map quickly, to drive this map at optimal pace, you must be risking so much. You have to flirt with disaster at every corner, and you have to risk touching the outside Ramstein at every possible opportunity. And if a team like Slow Noobs Cruising has lost 7 rounds in a row, where can their mental be? What could they possibly be feeling like in this moment? Can they possibly get themselves back in the game, or will NRT Cyan continue an unlikely comeback? Remember, Slow Noobs Cruising is the decisive favorite. Slow Noobs Cruising was the team that made it first out of the qualifying events in this division. Barely missing qualification to a higher tier, 15 points behind BG, and it was actually NRT Cyan who barely made it into Division 4. Barely beating, I believe it was... Let me just very quickly check the results. Barely beating Mega Fruits to make it in here. And now look at this, even though there's been 300 points between these teams, and even though Supersonic didn't feature for them, they're now equal. Only 1 point the advantage for Slow Noobs Cruising, and look at this map. Very challenging. To drive at the maximum, you are constantly risking, and if you drive safe, you are risking a lot of pace lost. Looking forward to see how Division 4 players will be able to tackle this map, as it is understandable for all players, but very challenging to drive at the high level. Easy to learn, hard to master exactly what you want a competitive map to be. One more warm-up left for the players to decide their lineups and to see how they're going to recover. How can NRT Cyan keep pushing this advantage? How can Slow Noobs Cruising recover from this? They have to figure out the answers in very little time. Only one warm-up, only 1.5 minutes separating us from the beginning of the second half of this match. And only one round separates the teams. 9 points NRT, 10 points Slow Noobs Cruising. But the score doesn't do justice to what we've just seen. This map, must-watch NASCAR in Division 4. In Division 4, ladies and gentlemen. And Division 5 going on the other stream with Remavik. I'm sure also a very exciting match in its own right. Must watch NASCAR everywhere you go, and every single player in the SNC this year, every single team has the opportunity to drive 2 matches in their division. They might not be competing for the title of overall SNC champion in Division 4, but what they are competing for is pride. They're leaving it all on the line. They're doing very well for themselves, I need to say. The level of performance from Supersonic on map 1, from Pineda on map 2, these players are able to shine when their performance is on point. It's been on point so far. Very, very well. One warm-up to go, and yet to see what the rosters are going to be. Is Supersonic going to return in for Slow Noobs Cruising to try to stem the tide? As I believe Supersonic actually has quite a decent time on this map, and oh, for the love of God, that was a misclick. Players still deciding, but the time for decision is over. Three versus 3. The rosters have been decided, or have they? I see 4 players out of spectator for Team NRT. Oh, but Mike retires. Okay, so we will see who goes into spectator mode, as I don't think this will significantly impact the map. I think not. And here are the rosters, ladies and gentlemen, for map number 3. RC Laren, Crumb, and Pinede versus Farber Daniel, Kart Slalom, and Middenrat. 7 rounds in a row for NRT Cyan, but this is a completely different beast of the map than the previous one. These corners familiar to all players, but so perilous to drive at high speeds. So difficult to master, even if it is easy to learn. Everybody could play this map blindfolded, but very few people can secure a high consistent pace, on this map. Very challenging for the players, and as we're heading into lap number 2, I think Slow Noobs Cruising have found a winning formula. While Penete is in the lead, the rest of his team are unable to convert a winning advantage, as it is Kart Slalom and Farber Daniel keeping it close to Penete, keeping it nice and tight. But now that's a mistake that Crom might be able to capitalize on, and suddenly it's not looking so clear. If Penete can hold first place and if Crom can hold third, it's all for naught. But look at Midden. What is this pace in the ending? Blitzing from nowhere, risking it all, and even though Kartstar makes a mistake and he touches the wall, it will not be enough. Which team will win? I think this might be a red round at the end of it all, and it is. The winning streak of NRT Cyan comes to an end. SNC back to their winning ways, putting an 11th point on the board, going to an 11-9 lead overall. Penete still best in overall pace with a very impressive 119.8, but the rest of the team simply not there. And Midden's late round charge, one for the history books, as he uncorked an incredibly risky finish, even touching the wall at the end, but it was enough. And that is the beauty of this map by Vamos Descartes. This is what makes it another amazing map by the master himself. High risk, high reward indeed. And RC Lauren will not be getting any of the reward, as he will probably finish dead last 2 rounds in a row, unless a big mistake happens, an early uncharacteristic mistake in a simple map element, leaving his team to fend for themselves. And Penete, unfortunately not leading this time, but Farber Daniel now losing a little bit of pace. RC Lara not enough to compensate, but if Crom and Penete can somehow secure first and second, or first and third, there may still be a way for them to stay in this. But can they do it? Everything to play for, and Kart Slalom will know that this is a good time to risk. Look at that, playing nice and feisty with the outside Rammsteins. But he will touch one. He will stay in there, but his pace has been temporarily compromised. Crom and Midden now, the fight for third place, which could decide it all. Midden somehow keeping it together, but he cannot take the corner. Crom will take third place, and I believe NRT Cyan have just done enough to take the round. But RC Lauren does need to reach the finish line. It is important that he doesn't reset. He does have to reach the finish line. In the end, he will, and it is thanks to the heroics of Penete and Crom that NRT Cyan immediately equalize. 1-1 on this map, 11-10 overall. This match is far from over. And Penete reminding his teammates not to force, reminding RC Lauren that consistent finishes, taking advantage of its opponent's mistakes. This is exactly how NRT Cyan came back into the match, and he's reminding his teammate that that's how they need to keep playing. Slow Noobs Cruising with a general pace advantage. But it doesn't matter if they can't finish the rounds, and that was their undoing on map number 2. Again, I think with Farber Daniel and Kart Slalom, they have a slight advantage in the top. But RC Lauren needs to step up if NRT Cyan are to score more consistent points, and unfortunately, that last again, struggling with this admittedly very difficult map, while the 5 players ahead of him zoom into a lead. Midden taking a lot of pace, but not more than the players ahead of him, crucially. This very tight opening corner into the banked section, very dangerous, but the players choose to play it safe. The players choose to prioritize consistency, and now Penete is no longer there to defend NRT Cyan. Slow Noobs Cruising, looking like a jackpot for them. Only Crom there to defend them, and he would have to make a miracle happen. He would need to uncork every last bit of pace he has in his body in order to secure this back, and he also needs a mistake, but it is he who makes the mistake. Caster curse number 3 of the evening. Slow Noobs Cruising are looking for the third ace of the evening, and they will. Midden reaches the finish line. Ace! Slow Noobs Cruising. They will secure the lead. 12-10 now. And 2-1 on this map. As unfortunately, RC Lauren with 3 consecutive last place finishes, struggling on this admittedly very difficult map. As I said, easy to learn, hard to master in Division 4. Some players might find that very hard, and unfortunately, RC Lauren not quite there for his team, not quite putting up the points they need. And they need the points more than ever because it's not looking great for them. The consistency of Team SNC with this lineup simply superior. Kart Slalom uncorking a vintage, consistent performance to keep up with Penete in points despite being 1 second slower in peak pace. And then after Kart Slalom, also everybody else 1 or multiple seconds slower. Crom with an early mistake. RC Lauren again nowhere to be seen. And NRT Cyan's comeback is fizzling out before our eyes. Looking like Slow Noobs Cruising are going to resume their domination over this map. But this is a mistake, I believe, from Kart Slalom. Apologies, getting quite hard to keep up. And it is Penete actually who leads, but without Crom to secure an extra point or two, I don't think it'll be enough. And SNC have the depth of the roster necessary to preserve their point and their advantage on this map. We'll see what happens here, as I believe Crom has actually completed the overtake. Is that another mistake from Kart Slalom, or is this the clutch from Crom in closing time? But will it be enough? I'm not entirely sure it will be. I think what Crom might have done with this is secure the draw, but no. RC Lauren is so slow, he's not going to finish the map, and unfortunately it's all for nothing. They will win 10-9 because RC Lauren's unable to reach the finish line. A red round, but only barely. Kart Slalom almost cost his team that one. Penete tried to do his best, but nothing to be said. A freebie for NRT Cyan thanks to a mistake by Kart Slalom, given up. And now once again it is Slow Noobs Cruising to a 3-1 lead on this map and to a 13-10 lead overall. Opening up another comfortable advantage as they slowly make their way towards a decisive advantage on this map number 3. Submersia by Vamos Dakar. A map with an incredibly high mastery curve, as driving quickly implies driving risky, and driving risky implies a possibility of ram bugs. It is not RC Lauren's day. Every single round at last. A terrible time to sub in his team. Made the comeback happen on map number 2, but it is nowhere to be seen on map number 3. But with Farber Daniel's mistake, the opportunity is open again. If RC Lauren finishes and if Crom can do something about it, this round can still be saved. Crom will, however, have to unlock an entirely new level of pace, and he will have to count on Midden's mistake. And look at this! He is opening up a personal best, taking advantage of the slightly riskier lines he's taking compared to Midden. He is catching up, but will he do enough? Midden is releasing! Crom could be the hero that his team needs! And he does make his way to 3rd place as Penete secures 1st, but RC Lauren has to finish the map, or it will all be for naught. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. I'm not sure he'll make it to the finish line on time. Not like this, man. You don't need to be fast, but you do need to be finishing. 5 seconds, the last corner, nowhere to be found. Another round goes to waste. It's a round draw. NRT Cyan giving it up. Not like this. Not like this. The SNC doesn't give you opportunities. Doesn't give you enough opportunities to throw them away like this. A terrible, terrible turn of events for NRT Cyan. This point could have been their chance to hold. The past 2 rounds, they had an opportunity to snipe and keep themselves competitive on map number 3, but now SNC are given another opportunity to run away with it, and RC Lauren touches the wall again. He's not even finishing the rounds, and if he is, he's dead last. Penete's heroics are for nothing, but Kart Slalom will make a mistake. Crom has to be the hero again. The hero that his team needs. He's done it once, and again he overtakes Midden. Unlocking new levels of pace that he hasn't shown previously. Doing super well for himself. He needs to keep it in 3rd place, and RC Lauren, he has to finish. Another opportunity has opened itself. Midden is the only person in position to keep it back together. As RC Lauren, I believe, is saying that his pad is KO. Why are you typing in the middle of the round? Your team needs you. Finish the round and fix the pad after. He slides out. He'll be touching the wall. Penete will be reaching the finish line in 1st place. Crom With a heroic comeback, will he be sniped by mid? And in the end, he barely defends himself with a late mistake. But again, does RC Laren have the time to finish? Not again! 5 seconds, he has time to finish, and NRT Cyan will finish it. Finally, a blue team round. Finally, all of their players are in the finish line. And for now, SNC's pace has been halted. They still hold an overall advantage. They are still leading 13-11. But that's all that separates these two teams. 2 rounds. Still anyone's game. NRT Cyan must take advantage of the mistakes that SNC are doing right now. Because God knows they've made all too many of them tonight. Penede has been upping the pace, but RC Laren, his pad is out. And he's out into the wall again. Unable to navigate the 270. This is painful for his team. Crom is trying to put up heroics. But this time I think he's a little bit too far to make a lunge. He would have to count on mistakes and Midden obliges. Perhaps still something to play for in the dying reaches of this round. Lap number 2. Penede has been leading everyone by almost a second overall pace. Kart Slalom is not able to compete, and neither is Farbro or Daniel. But he doesn't have the teammates to pick it up. This is 3 versus 3, not 4 versus 4. If one of your teammates is having a bad day, it's going to cost you a lot more points than it otherwise would. And Crom needs to make at least one more overtake stick if he wants to make this happen for his team, but I don't think the opportunity will present itself. Farbro or Daniel would have to make a spectacular mistake. Kart Slalom has touched the wall. But he has enough of a leeway. And this is a red round. Midden with another significant mistake in the end, and no dice, as RC Laren, he can barely turn his pad, not responding to his inputs. A terrible time for a technological defect. He will finish the round, but only barely. And it's a red round, but by 1 point. If RC Laren could play at his peak pace, if he was not having technical issues, perhaps NRT Cyan's comeback would continue. But SNC is now opening up the lead again. 14-11. 14-11. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to have backup peripherals, but your caster might need a backup voice by tomorrow if the rounds are this exciting, and by God, this match has delivered so far. What a matchup indeed, and the map pack also doing really well even for these Division 4 players. You can still see players like Penete in particular, like Supersonic on map 1, like Spock on map 2. They're really able to take advantage of these maps even if they can't drive them at the highest pace. Midden has been struggling a little bit, but this time Penete is not in first place. NRT Cyan need to stage quite a bit of a comeback, as again RC Laren is still behind Midden, even though Midden is making significant mistakes that cost him several seconds and checkpoints. Crom and Penete fighting for their lives. And look at Penete, look at the last minute lunge. Look at how smoothly he is chaining corner into corner. Now Kart Slalom is looking to challenge this pace. He's not looking to let him get away with it, but he makes a mistake. And that mistake might actually push Crom into third place. And if RC Laren can finish the round, then NRT Cyan might have salvaged something from the throes of defeat. Penede and Crom are fighting for their lives. 12 seconds now for RC Laren to reach the finish line. If he does, his team will win a round. But if he doesn't, it'll be a draw again. He has 3 seconds, then he doesn't make the corner. He reaches the wall, and it's another round draw. What a terrible way to give up a map point. NRT Cyan. The comeback, so close, but so far away. They are giving up so many potential points. They could have been in the lead of this map and possibly equalize the match completely. But one of their players suffering through technical issues, unable to deal with them. Unable to switch input devices, and his teammates simply unable to fight back, and the technical issues continue. It's hard to watch, and now Penede finally makes a mistake after leading for such a long time, after being the strongest player on this map with 45 points. Even the best among us make a mistake, especially on a map as difficult as this. Cram is out, and it is looking like an ace for SNC. This might be the round that decides it all. This might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And Pineda retires. It's looking like an ace for Team SNC. And it looks like their hopes might have finally been dashed. It looks like this may be the end of the line. What a terrible way to lose. So close, yet so far away, and nothing to be said about this round. Crom and RC Lauren nowhere to be seen. Technical issues, unfortunately, preventing them. And despite Midden's mistake, I don't think it's going to stop the ace impending for Team Slow Noobs Cruising. Kart Slalom into the finish line with a personal best. Sorry, not a personal best, but a very respectable 120.9. And it is an ace for Team Slow Noobs Cruising. It's the 5th point on the map, and it's looking like the beginning of the end for Team NRT Cyan. The lead is beginning to open up again, and this was the same story from map number 1. NRT Cyan kept it close for so long. They had a 2-2 scoreline on the first map, but then Team Slow Noobs Cruising had 5 consecutive rounds in order to open a huge lead heading into map number 2 before the mythical comeback from NRT Cyan began. But now again, Slow Noobs Cruising looking to regain the lead of the match. They have recovered from the difficulties they were facing on map number 2. Kart Slalom has revitalized them with incredible consistency. Barber, Daniel, and Kart Slalom 39 and 37 points, shining beacons for their team. And Penete and RC Lara nowhere to be found again. Cram touches the wall. This is all beginning to unravel for NRT Cyan. It's so hard to watch. Penede, the only player competitive, but there will be a mistake from a Slow Noobs Cruising member, but it is a very slim hope. Cram and Penede would both have to complete overtakes in lap 2 to make this one stick. And whether they're able to, it is anyone's guess. Penede will die trying. And he has a lot of pace in hand. He is very good at this. Kart Slalom, minor release. Penede, minor release. Who's taking this corner more smoothly? Nothing to separate these two drivers. Kart Slalom with incredible release timing. But Penede, he has more speed into the exit. Looking to the finish line. Penede navigates the corner smoothly. Kart Slalom a little bit less. He has a little bit more exit speed, but it won't be enough. Penede completes the snipe and he reaches the finish line, but Crom unable to do it, and it is Slow Noobs Cruising to reach map point first. Looking to put this one away. This might just be all she wrote. Map point. Slow Noobs Cruising. As we are entering what could be the final round on Submersia Vibamos de Car. The map on which NRT Cyan's hopes of making a comeback have been dashed. 16-11, the overall score now between these two teams. Technically still possible for NRT Cyan to win, but they need points on this map. They need points now. And Crom and Penede are now in prime position to score. RC Lauren, again, nowhere to be found, but he will have 20 seconds to finish, and Crom inherits second place. Crom can be the hero his team needs. Putting up 32 points, done very well for himself, but this is the time to score big. Penede, time to increase his overall lead. This is a point they simply must score. Midden is out. Not completely out of the round, but Crom and Penede are holding the advantage. It would take a significant mistake for this to come undone. Barbaro Daniel is increasing the pace, but Crom will not let him slip quietly into the night. He will not let him get away with it, but Barbaro Daniel's leaving no chance to him, and Crom might be risking a lot in the last turn to overhaul him. It will not happen, but first and third is enough to win the round if RC Lauren reaches the finish line. Will he be able to? 15 seconds and he's in this corner. As long as he doesn't have to respawn, as long as he reaches the finish line, this might just be the point they needed. Crom, incredible performance, and it is an NRT Cyan point. The comeback, still possible. This match, still not over. 16-12 the overall score in favor of Slow Noobs Cruising. Penede, 57 points. Kart Slalom, 47 points. Farber, 45 points. Penede has been a step above everyone in terms of pace. Crom has been putting up big points. RC Lawrence, technical issues. keeping him far behind, but as long as he's able to finish these rounds, it is enough because Crom and Pineda are putting in a superhero effort on behalf of NRT Cyan. Again, it doesn't matter. His pad can make him crash as much as he wants, but Pineda and Cram are in first and second place. And if Slow Noobs Cruising are not able to do anything about it, it might still be a map, but Pineda has touched the wall. Cram makes a mistake, not the Castlickers from Hell, the fourth of the evening. Barber Daniel inherits the lead, but Crom is still in the mix. Pineda should not be discounted. He is the fastest player on this map on the server right now. He will overtake Carsalma, but Crom has been left behind. This might just be the map point conversion that they have been waiting for. Midden now needs to put up a consistent finish. Midden needs to not give it up. Crom and Pineda will be looking for a late round attack, but as it stands, it's looking for an ace. For Slow Noobs Cruising. An ace for Slow Noobs Cruising, potentially, to wrap this map and this match up. Just a couple of corners separating them from the finish line, and it looks like they are going to make it. Pineda's heroics are for nothing. Finally it ends, and it's an ace! An ace to finish map 3 in favor of Slow Noobs Cruising. 7-3 on this map. 17-12 the overall score. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Only one map remaining in this evening. Pilgrimage by Ronig. And NRT Cyan. You'd best believe that map name is symbolic. Because what they need is a miracle. And to make their miracle happen, they will go on a pilgrimage. Because they are facing a 5-point disadvantage. If SNC continue their round win streak, it will all be over very soon. NRT Cyan need to perform. NRT Cyan, if it's by their own hands or if it's divine intercession, they need a miracle. Because Slow Noobs Cruising's pace has been strong. And they have made a lot of mistakes, but luckily for them, NRT Cyan, because of RC Lauren's technical issues, have not been able to capitalize as well as they might have liked. If NRT Cyan could just convert the 2 rounds they drew because RC Lauren couldn't reach the finish line because of technical issues, this might have still been everything to play for. But Slow Noobs Cruising now have a decisive advantage coming into the 4th map, and NRT Cyan will have to make a comeback for the ages happen to make it work. They need to win, and they need to win by quite a couple of points to force a decider map. NRT Cyan would have to win 7-2 to force a decider map. Or 7-1 to win outright. Any other score will not be enough. If Slow Noobs Cruising secure 3 points, the match is over. They will be your winners. They will prove their status of favorites, and they will move to the final of Division 4. NRT Cyan will move to the 3rd place match in Division 4. 2 warm-ups are all that separates the players. They need to take a deep breath. They need to take stock of the situation. They know what the points mean. They know what they have to do. And if Supersonic returns for Slow Noobs Cruising, they are looking to bury NRT Cyan. The player that put them all in the dust on map number 1, returning possibly for map number 4 to help secure the victory. Only one warm-up remaining. Only one warm-up for NRT Cyan to try to find the winning combination. To try to find the winning strategy because they need it. They gave up a lot of free points on the previous one. They did not capitalize on the mistake of Slow Noobs Cruising, and with this in mind, They can still win, but again, it would take a 7-1 score to win outright and 7-2 to force a decider map. The decider map would be another run of the flat map back to the source by Truo. And honestly, if that decider map happens, if Supersonic plays, hard to see how NRT Cyan would be winning that decider, so they need to get out of the gates blazing. No more time for second thoughts. They have to go balls to the wall on this difficult map by Ronig. These elements all familiar to the players, but putting it together into a successful round without too much risk. As difficult as ever. Easy to learn, hard to master. Lots of places on this map where you can lose a lot of speed. Not a whole lot of places on this map to gain a lot of speed. And plenty of places where the outside Ramstein can send you and your team to the lower bracket, to the third place match, and to dash your hopes of becoming divisional champions. The warm-up will end in 20 seconds, the lineup's yet to be decided, and this is where it all comes to an end. 17-12 the score in favor of Slow Noobs Cruising. They are breathing a sigh of relief that they weren't punished harder on the previous map by NRT Cyan. It is theirs to win. 3 points, all they need to convert this match and to secure their victory. The final map, Pilgrimage by Ronig, begins now. And we're looking to see which players will take to the stage for the respective teams, and it seems that the rosters have been decided. NRT Cyan placing their hopes in Mike 12334, Kram and Penede versus Farbro Daniel, Shiva, and the superstar of Supersonic, making a return after map number 1 to drive map number 4 to secure the 3 points they need in order to take this one home. Round number 1 is underway, and Penete and Farbro Daniel fighting each other for the overall lead. Where is the 6th player? Where is Kram? Kram isn't on the track. Kram hasn't started the round. Actually, wondering whether the round should be restarted, because this is not a 3v3. The overall score is 17-12 for SNC. Actually, since this is a 3v2, I do need to check. It doesn't seem like all of NRT's players are able to participate, as I believe that, yes, Krom is still disconnected, so we will be... okay, I wasn't aware that somebody else was match admin as well. As we have to see, is NRT Cyan unable to get their third player to actually play the game due to some unforeseen issue. And Spider is here to help us resolve this situation. And we will see whether we will be restarting the map from a 0-0 scoreline, as the third player of Team NRT Cyan was unable to take part in round number 1. And yes, it seems like all players have successfully connected now. Just as yeah, it seems like we will be resuming from 0-0. And yes, we are resuming from 0-0. So the first round in which a third NRT signed player in Crom could not play will not be counted. And we begin map 4 all over again from the first round. And we'll see for ourselves how it goes, as now we are finally in the match we were promised, and let's see if this brief interruption due to a technical issue has interrupted Slow Noobs Cruising's focus, or if they are ready to take this one home. As a reminder to the viewers, 3 points is all Slow Noobs Cruising need in order to take this one home, and thanks to Mike's mistake and Crom's current position, it seems like they will be able to do that. Supersonic, the superstar of Slow Noobs Cruising, will and Penete, the only person able to keep up with him in pace. This is a very impressive round from the top 2 players. Farber Daniel, however, keeping in 3rd place means that SNC overwhelmingly favored to win this round, and Penete makes a mistake. Farber Daniel will inherit 2nd place. And SNC, undaunted by the pause, undaunted by the prospect of a 3 versus 3 against this roster of NRT, they will be reaching the finish line in a 1:18.6, about 1 second behind Daddy 30 and another second behind is Farber Daniel. This is the first point on the board for SNC. Only 2 more needed for them to take this match home. Second round now underway, and Supersonic has shown that his pace on the first map was anything but a fluke, as he is once again dominating in a way that no player except Penede is capable of stopping, and even more often than not, Penede himself does not have the pace to match up with him. He is the carry force that his team need, but he needs the rest of his team, Farber Daniel and Shiva, to put up a consistent performance to squeeze out every possible point in order for them to finish this as smoothly as possible, in order to not allow NRT Cyan any way back into this map, back into this match, in order to secure their passage to the finals. Lap number 2 underway. Penete is doing his damnedest to catch up to Supersonic, but he's still 0.2 of a second behind, and Farbro Daniel keeping that all-important third place, first and third enough to secure the round. Regardless of what happens behind them, Penete now trying to increase the pace to match up, but his 270 line a little bit inferior to Supersonic's, who manages to keep maximum speed heading out of it. Penete keeping up with the pace, but not managing to put a dent in his advantage. Now tries to go for the slide versus the no slide, but he has inferior exit speed. And Supersonic will take a second round in a row to put Slow Noobs Cruising on match point. As Crom will finish last, the second point, only one more needed. Slow Noobs Cruising to confirm their victory and the passage to the Division 4 Finals, relegating NRT Cyan to the third place match. Only 1 point separates them. NRT Cyan have to win 7 in a row to force a decider map. But you know what the funny thing is, dear ladies and gentlemen watching? We have actually seen NRT Cyan win 7 consecutive rounds tonight. Stranger things have certainly happened, but this time, with Supersonic's pace and consistency, it seems like a foregone conclusion, as Farbro Daniel's consistency has been enough to see the points through to them. Now even challenging Penete, whose pace is simply nowhere to be found. Crom and Mike not fast enough to keep up, and even though Shiva has made a bit of a significant mistake in the early lap, Supersonic's looking to put this one to rest. As soon as you like, he's only 0.3 of a second behind Deddy 1, driving a personal best pace, a pace worthy of a much higher division than 4. But what has happened behind him? Farbro Daniel has made a mistake, and Shiva has made a huge mistake. If NRT Cyan realize the position they are in, this might be a point for NRT Cyan, and the beginning of what could be another throw or comeback, depending on how you want to look at it, of the ages. Penete will finish in second, Crom will finish in third, Mike will finish in fourth, and I think that just might be enough points to secure a blue round. The first of 7 in a row required to force a decider map. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't over yet. At the first time of asking, Red Team unable to convert a match point and a 1:17.70. Now a deady time, as Engel observantly points out. The pace worthy of Division 2, of Division 1 possibly. Supersonic, the superstar of Slow Noobs Cruising. He's not slow, he's not a noob, but he sure is cruising. But he's not able to put his team to victory. They need just 1 more point, but at the first time of asking, they were unable to convert the match point. But now Mike is giving them the opportunity with a very unstable start. Looking like an SNC round all day, all night. Crom and Penete would have to make something heroic happen. They did make it happen on the previous map, and Supersonic, risking a lot, touching the outside ramp sign, will actually give up the position to Penete temporarily, and Penete has a lot of speed. Crom is keeping up very well himself, currently driving a personal best pace. Shiva and Farbro Daniel now need to step it up in order to secure this, because as it stands, NRT Cyan could be looking at sneaking away another point. Supersonic determined not to let it happen. He will chase Penete to the ends of the earth. And with such a pressure behind him, can Penete possibly hold on? He goes wide, but wide isn't better. Supersonic, so measured, cool, calm, collected, secures first place again, and that first place might just be the end. The end of it all, as Mike is in last place. Penete with a last chance comeback, but it will not be. Supersonic in a first place finish, but Crom has actually secured some points. Ladies and gentlemen, hold the door. It will be a blue round. It will be a blue round, the second of 7 needed in a row, and they will not convert the match point for the second time running. 2-2 the equalizer. Everything to play for. 5 points. An unlikely comeback. NRT Cyan need to win 5 more consecutive rounds against Supersonic, who is performing like a god. Putting up deadly times, putting his team on his back, but the last few points, not enough to bring it home. As NRT Cyan have successfully capitalized on the mistakes of Team Slow Noobs Cruising. And I need to remind you, on map number 2, NRT Cyan also went on a 7-round winning streak after losing the first couple of rounds. We've literally seen this happen before, but surely not now. Surely not on this map. Supersonic wasn't there on map 2, that's one thing. But now he's here, surely he will be the carry force that his team needs. Crom has made a mistake. Mike is now further behind, and SNC, this is what they've been waiting for. 1 lap separating them from glory. 1 lap separating them from greatness. Arbor Daniel giving us a bit of a heart attack, but he'll keep it on the road, and Pineda's made a mistake, and it looks like the ace will be the killing blow. NRT Cyan. They fought bravely. It was an admirable battle. It was very well fought, much closer than I expected at the beginning of the evening, but Slow Noobs Cruising, they will reach the finish line in a 1-2-3 unless Shiva decides to spoil that last bit of fun. Doesn't look like Crom is in a position to capitalize. Supersonic in the finish line. Shiva will in the end manage to reach the finish line in an ace to give the match point over to Slow Noobs Cruising. They take the match, they reach Division 4 Finals. And they get past it even with the shock at the end, with Supersonic on their side putting up 30 points on this map. NRT Cyan couldn't make another magical 7-map win streak happen. They will be hating that RC Lawrence pad issues stopped them from getting more points on the 3rd map, because this one could have been competitive for much longer, but in the end, they will have to settle for a valiant defeat. And honestly, they're looking very good ahead of their 3rd place match in Division 4. We will play the rest of this map out to get the final score, but as it stands, it has been decided. NRT Cyan fought valiantly, but it was not to be, and Supersonic, living up to the name, living large. 1st place every single round so far, 5 rounds, 5 victories. This man will not be denied. Pineda with a huge mistake. If he still had anything to fight for, he doesn't now. The mistake, an unfortunate one, but it is too late to run. It is too late to save anything. SNC looking to capitalize, put up a 4th point on this map. Their victory already assured. They want to win dominantly. Supersonic with his first serious mistake. Now, Farmer Daniel actually with a mistake. If this round was still something to be fought for, if Pineda hadn't made that mistake, NRT Cyan could have actually taken this round with these little blunders at the end. But ultimately, not to be. Not to be. 11-10 will be the point score in this round, as Pineda's significant mistake means Slow Noobs Cruising will take a 4th point. Very well done for them indeed. And at the end of the match, please stay tuned. If any of the players are interested in being interviewed at the end of it all, we will obviously take a moment to hear them out. To hear out their experience, to hear out what they have to think at the end of this match, and how they're feeling in front of their following matches. As we are yet to see, obviously, how Division 4 will shake up, but the level of play for Division 4, very high indeed, I must say. Players have individually showed some amazing performance, and some very underrated players have shown great consistency tonight to put great points on the board for their teams. Definitely lots to take in, and a very pleasant match to watch. It could have been competitive until the very end, but NRT Cyan not to be. Small issues plaguing them will unfortunately stop them. Round number 7, I believe, currently in progress, and Pineda is keeping up, but Farber Daniel, he has kept that magical 3rd place. Just enough points to win the rounds for his team, as Crom and Mike are unable to really put it together. Shiva now actually makes a really big mistake, but unless Farber Daniel gives up his position, it won't be for nothing. Crom, the only person in a position to take him, actually no, as he's made a mistake. So is Mike. Farber Daniel, very good pace. All evening, he's been on the server and he's been putting up the points when it mattered. 1:17.55, ladies and gentlemen, hats off to Supersonic. The fastest round so far, and a deadly in its own right. This man is determined to show that being in Division 4, he's just taking it easy. He could jump into a Division 2 match tomorrow and he could excel there. And it's again a red round, but only by 1 point. This could have been competitive until the very end. Remember, many rounds on map number 3 could have been draws that could have gone NRT Cyan's way if RC Lauren didn't have a pad issue, a malfunction that prevented him from playing. And looking at how close the rounds here are, the score is not doing it justice. 10-11, 10-11, 11-10. This match has been much better than I originally expected, and I have to give all credit to every player that was on the server tonight. They showed up to play, and they definitely made their teams proud and made a very good showing for themselves in the return of the Spring NASCAR Cup. They will also put up a fearsome level for the rest of their competitors in Division 4. As a reminder to you all, we're still to see the second match in that. Not entirely sure whether it will be included in the streaming schedule. Yet to be seen, of course, as we are now watching round number 8 take shape in front of us. And again, it's actually very competitive. Even though Supersonic's in the lead, Kram is now challenging Farber Daniel for third place, and Mike is ahead of Shiva. So this round can still go NRT Cyan's way. They can still soften their defeat. They can still put up some valiant points in this map as Kram is on a personal best, but he doesn't take that corner very well. Farber Daniel, on the other hand, does. And unfortunately, I think that, again, it's going to be an 11-10 point round. Look at this. So close between these teams, but close just isn't enough. 10-11 again. Just 1 point between these two teams for the last 3 consecutive rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the scoreline, do not let it deceive you. This has been a well-fought, closely contested match between two teams which were matched way more evenly than anyone could have imagined based on their qualifying results. Hats off to the teams and hats off to Supersonic, because you struggle to think NRT Cyan could have well made this happen if Supersonic didn't bail them out on maps 1 and 4. But his performance has been spectacular. 44 points for him, 33 points for Farber Daniel, actually outscoring Penete despite being the slower player. And although Mike has done better than Shiva, it's just not enough. Map point. SNC, Penete now leading. But with Mike's mistake, they are no longer in an ideal position to capitalize on this mistake, and it might just not come to fruition for them right now. Yet to be seen how this final round will end when Penete makes a mistake, and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of it all. Barring any miracles, this will be the final round, and it will be 7-2 on the final map in the favor of Slow Noobs Cruising, but that scoreline misleading, because these rounds were much closer than the scoreline suggests. And in the end, the scoreline of the match is going to be 24 SNC, 14 NRT. And it is indeed a red round. Mike will reach the finish line to wrap up a evening. That's another 117.7 from Supersonic. Hats off to this man. He has been class of the field. And ladies and gentlemen, we are done here. And let me just make sure that I counted that up properly. I believe I have. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been all for this evening.